Thank you, thank you, thank you all. Yes, be sure to get my good side.
I wonder who that could be.
Must be someone super famous.
I must get through. My audience awaits. Thank you, thank you.
Welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Hex.
And I'm Bajo.
And I am D.A.R.R.E.N, data analyzing robot for the ruthless extermination of noobs, version 2.0.
D.A.R.R.E.N, what's happened to you? You look the same, but different.
Well, as Spawn Point has been permanently extended to half an hour, it was decided that the stars deserved an upgrade. So here I am. What do you think?
I think you look amazing, D.A.R.R.E.N. What do these do?
Oh, that's my enhanced molecular scanner with a noob sensing radius of 427.28 kilometers.
Oh, and this, what does that do?
Oh, that's the temperature knob for my new cheese toasty maker.
Awesome.
What upgrades did you two get?
Oh, well, we got these shirts.
Oh, that's pretty good.
But we did get more time in each episode, so now we can review not one, but 2 games.
And this week, it's Child of Eden from the makers of Res and Lumines.
Plus, we meet our brand new field reporter, Goose. He'll be checking out a new MMO being made right here in Australia.
And are you doing anything extra for the show, D.A.R.R.E.N, besides looking a little bit different?
I'll be firing my upgraded laser at some noobs.
Well, I guess we should get the show on the road. Why don't we start with Green Lantern? Now, I know it's a movie game, but that doesn't mean it's going to be bad. Does it?
Affirmative.
You know what, guys? I'm starting to wonder if we should even bother with movie tie-in games.
We know they're always rushed and terrible, and we're so rarely wrong about them.
Oh, you know, every now and then we get one that truly surprises us, though.
Yes, unfortunately that was not the case with Green Lantern Rise of the Manhunters, however.
Ryan Reynolds, who plays Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern in the film, also lends his face and voice to the game,
It's bright as day, black as night.
which sees our Lantern fighting against the Manhunters, who were the original protectors of the galaxy, using a series of green hard light constructs as weapons.
The story is pretty lame. Manhunters are led by Abin Sur, who is described by Hal Jordan as the son of the greatest Green Lantern ever, who has managed to harness yellow fear energy to use against the Green Lanterns and their allies. So you're unceremoniously plonked into the middle of a battle where you begin to smash your way through enemies in a war of fancy light, green against yellow.
One thing I will say for it, though, is that the use of the various hard light constructs that the game provides you with is actually really cool. As you gain XP and level, you'll be able to take on new constructs, some of which are really fun to use. Missiles, a giant mech suit, one that lets you throw a plane. You assign these attacks to face buttons in conjunction with a left and right trigger. And I love a game that makes full use of controller buttons.
Yeah, in fact, you're spoiled for choice with abilities. You have so many that you just run out of buttons to use, so you end up just mapping the ones that you use the most.
Some specific constructs are required to complete puzzles, however, so you need to have them handy, like exploding mines or this baseball bat, which you use to deflect enemy fire right back at them.
I think one of my favorites was that grapple. You can pick up enemies and just run around like you're at a carnival with a balloon on the end of a string. Whee! The co-op in this game is another feature that works quite well. You can drop in and drop out whenever you like, which is the only way co-op should be done, in my opinion.
And some of the puzzles actually felt like they were really designed to be tackled in co-op, with really specific timing elements that left me thinking that they'd be quite annoying to do solo.
And there's some shameful repetition in the levels here, isn't there? It's really unimaginative. You'll go through a whole area shutting down some major power core, only to find you have to do the exact same thing again on another level. Early on in the game, I had to disable a bunch of these towers, and I just kept thinking, how many of these towers are there? And then Hal said this.
Oh, great. More towers. How many more do these guys have?
Even the game knows it's being boring.
Yeah, and that slow walk to cover loading is just a really lazy mechanic. I mean, I'd rather just have a loading screen than be forced to walk slowly between every area. And also the predictable formula of flying, shooting missions.
Yeah, they always felt like filler to me, and I could always sense them coming.
You know, after a while, I did feel like I was getting into the swing of things, though, after I'd beefed up my dude a bit. I just love the way the game would enter slow-mo on the last hit of a group of enemies you'd cleared, especially if I was going all out with that Gatling gun. You just feel awesome, and you know, constantly getting new constructs like that mech suit would really change the combat. It was like having a shiny new toy to play with every few levels. I was actually starting to enjoy myself a little bit, when all of a sudden...
Yeah, it's way too short, and that's just unforgivable.
Yeah, it's just not on. I mean, this game has some cool qualities. There were elements about the combat that I enjoyed, but the script is dodgy, the levels are repetitive, and even though this isn't as expensive as, say, a top AAA title, it's still way too much to pay for this length and quality, in my opinion. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yes, alas, the curse of the movie tie-in game continues. It's such a shame because there's so much about Green Lantern that works for games, just in the mechanics and how he works as a character, but he hasn't had as good game yet. This is too short, it's too repetitive, and there's not enough game here, so I'm giving it 3.5 out of 10 rubber chickens. We did play the PlayStation 3 version, so it's possible the Wii version might be better, but that's not usually the case, is it? No. It's not usually.
Negative.
No, it's not true. We would never. It was just one person. Oh, this is ridiculous. I'm ending this conversation.
What's going on, Hex?
Look, I know we've been talking about Minecraft a lot recently, but we really have to address this one. Bajo, someone has accused us of cheating.
What? Cheating is for mad noobs.
I know, right? Still, Spawnling Bad Boy 50 from Perth had this to say. You guys act like you are so good on Minecraft, but I checked the file and learned that you used Inside Job. You guys have ruined Minecraft forever.
Well, that's a very serious accusation right there, and for those who don't know, Inside Job is a Minecraft inventory editor which allows you to create anything without having to work for it. But Bad Boy 50, I'm not sure what led you to think that we were using it, because, hand on heart, Hex, we promise you that our world was made 100% legitimately in survival mode with no cheats, mods, or programs of any sort.
We do have to fess up to one thing though, Bajo.
Oh yeah.
We have ended up with heaps of free minecarts thanks to a common bug in the game. Often the game crashes when we ride our epic train line, and we think that because the minecart is moving so fast, the game assumes that there's a cart in more than one spot. So when we reboot, hey presto, one cart has become many.
Yeah, that's not a cheat, that's a feature. But other than that, everything else is legitimate, and if you don't believe us, then just apply logic. Why would we have made such a huge mine and made all of these farms if we were using cheats? Why would we not have given ourselves billions of diamonds and be swanning about in diamond armor with diamond weapons and pickaxes and live in a house entirely made from diamonds? Why are we still here at all? D.A.R.R.E.N would have lasered us long ago. You know how he feels about cheaters. Why would we have not...
Okay, Bajo, I think we've made our point.
All right.
Now let's move on to this one from Game Crazy in Melbourne.
Game Crazy! I have an Xbox and a Wii, and I would like a game where you play as an animal, but I can never find one. I have asked you many times, please answer. Well, Game Crazy, there's certainly more than a few animal games around. Starting with the Xbox, you could check out the original Banjo-Kazooie games on Xbox Live Arcade. They're classics and will take you ages to finish.
They also made Viva Pinata, and that's basically a gardening game, but it's all about attracting various animals into your garden.
Also, any Crash Bandicoot or Sonic the Hedgehog game has you playing as an animal, and there's a lot of them.
And if you have a Kinect, then Kinectimals lets you adopt your very own virtual kitty.
Aww. As for the Wii, well, there's tons again. There's the Animal Crossing series, where you live in a town full of animal folk. There's Donkey Kong Country Returns, which offers some rather tricky platforming. Or there's the Pet series, which lets you look after cats and dogs. And Sam & Max offers some hilarious point-and-click adventuring. And that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah, so there's many animal games out there, Game Crazy, and they're all quite different, so hopefully something out of all those piqued your interest. All right, well, let's move on to this one from Lachlan in Launceston, Tasmania.
Launceston's fun to say.
Hi, Good Game Spawn Point. If you don't answer my question, I will give up on sending questions. 1. Last year, you reviewed Need for Speed World for the PC. You said when you get to level 10, you had to start paying, but I'm a level 14 and I haven't spent a cent. 2. Can modern TVs play the Nintendo NES or SNES? Thanks. If you answer this question, make all games be good ones.
Well, Lachlan, we weren't wrong, but neither are you. See, when Need for Speed World was first released and we reviewed it, the level cap was set at 10 for those who hadn't purchased the starter pack. But at the end of last year, the game reached over 1 million subscribers, and to celebrate that, they removed the level cap and made it completely free to play.
And yes, modern TVs can display an old NES or SNES, as both consoles use the standard RCA plugs, which modern TVs still use. But while it should work, you never know. Old technology sometimes doesn't play so nice with new tech. But in theory, it should all work fine. All right, well, next we've got this one from Ferrari 430 Scuderia in Brisbane, Queensland.
Hey, good game, I have a few questions for you. Number 1, what's the best car game on the PS3 that has me in it? Number 2, my PS3 is not letting me play online because of the parental control system. How do I change this? Number 3, can you help me reach 400 kmh? P.S. You guys rock, and if you don't put this on your show, I'll be a noob forever! Well, Mr. Ferrari, there's only a couple of racing games with the F430 Scuderia on PS3 that we're aware of. Gran Turismo 5 has it, and so does Ferrari Challenge, and out of those, GT5 is definitely the better game. If you had an Xbox 360, then Forza 3 has that car too, and so does Need for Speed Shift 2 as downloadable content.
As for getting around your parental controls, well, you're just going to have to talk to whoever it is that set the controls, because they're the only ones who'll be able to change it or disable it.
And if you want to reach 400 kilometers per hour, well, you can forget about that Scuderia of yours. Its top speed is only around 320, and even with the upgrades and tuning, you won't get it over 400. But we'd suggest you use the Bugatti Veyron. It will rocket you up to 400 kilometers per hour and over quite easily. But of course, the tricky thing is finding a long enough straight to get up to that speed.
And your best bet for that one isn't actually one of the speedways, because the banked turns will kill off too much speed. But the Le Mans circuit, or the Circuit de la Sarthe, without chicane, has a mighty long straight that is perfect for a top speed run. You'll need to still tune your car a bit and drop the aerodynamics down and install any upgrades you can. But after that, just hit the straight, put the pedal to the metal, and you'll be traveling along at 400 kilometers per hour in no time.
Now, we'll admit we actually recorded that using Forza 3 rather than GT5 because we haven't unlocked the Veyron in GT5, and that takes a long time. But both cars are in GT5, as is that track. But I think on that note, it's time for us to go. If you have any puzzling questions that are perplexing you, please send us an email.
Oh, there's one already. Darren, let him out.
But he might have a virus. I don't want you to get infected.
Look at him, Darren. He's perfectly healthy.
He might be from a rival network, wanting to spy on us.
No, Darren, he's not a spy. He's a new reporter working on our shows.
Well, he might be a noob.
Well, at least let him out and then we can test him.
Oh, all right. But I'll charge up my laser and have it standing by.
Hey, Goose, welcome to Spawn Point.
Thanks, guys. Great to be here.
Now, Goose, do you mind if we ask you a few questions?
No, go right ahead.
All right. Well, tell us, how long have you been gaming for?
Well, back when I was 9, I got a Super Nintendo for Christmas, so ever since then.
Describe what kind of a gamer you are.
Well, I'm a big Nintendo fanboy, but now I've got all the consoles, so I'll play anything if it's good fun.
Name all the tracks in order on the original SingStar game. Firing my laser!
No, wait, I can get Totally SingStar on Total Eclipse of the Heart. It's like my favourite song.
Welcome to the team, Goose.
Phew. So, what's your first story about?
Well, I go down and visit the team at Bubblegum Interactive, who are working on an MMO right here in Australia.
Sounds awesome. Let's take a look.
So Bubblegum Interactive is a new Australian startup. We've been around for about a year. We kind of started out of our garage with a bunch of guys working part-time. You know, we got some funding from investors, and now we've got an office in Sydney, and we're, you know, really working together to build a new virtual universe for kids.
I think the thing we're looking to most when kids experience Little Space Heroes is really the thrill of adventure that they'll get as they create their hero, jump in, make some new friends, and then just blast off for adventure and explore the universe.
The story behind Little Space Heroes begins 20 years prior, when the villain of the story, Lord Shadowbot, invades our hero's galaxy. And Shadowbot's kind of a quirky robot who's afraid of the dark. And he's been travelling through the universe with his flotilla of minions, stealing up all kinds of sources of light. So he invades the hero's galaxy to steal them from their planet. Well, the story itself, I kind of dreamt up 10 years ago as a comic book concept because I really love comics. Now we've folded into the virtual universe gaming concept, which is exciting because kids get to jump in and actually continue the story, and they kind of make it up as they go as well. And as we've been developing it, it's really been a team effort to kind of evolve the story to where it's at now.
My role as art and creative director is really to sort of try to drive the creative and the art vision and try to get, like, we've got a very talented art team as well, so trying to get them to all sort of mix their different art styles together and to make a new art style and then to keep that consistent.
Can you show us some of the stuff you've been working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So here we have some very early character explorations and concepts. So we went through a whole bunch of designs. You can sort of see here we just play with all different sort of costumes and eyes and all that sort of stuff. And from there, we send that off to the modelling team, who then go and make all of the mesh for the characters. And then we put bones in them, which you can grab these. And by moving these around, you can sort of see, you can start to do some animation. And then a final version of that is, of course, the animation. So actually doing all the actions to make the characters come to life.
So what's the coolest thing you're working on at the moment?
Probably the coolest thing for me right now is all the star jets that we're working on. So we're doing a whole range of different customizable star jets for the kids to explore through the universe with. And they've got all their own animations and different paint schemes and stuff as well.
My main job is really to translate accurately what has been the vision of the team, what kind of games they want to produce for the kids to play. The main challenge for us is really to make sure that the multiplayer game component is done accurately. The more real-time that we want our game to be, the more challenging it becomes to make sure that every player has a consistent experience.
Can you tell me what you're working on here?
Yeah, I'm working on a function that actually makes the character move. Basically, when you click around, that's the function that's gonna be put into action. So when you click here, and the character is just gonna be animating the walking state here.
We've done a lot of testing of Little Space Heroes right from the early days when we were just brainstorming and drawing things down on paper. And as we moved through development, we started reaching out to kids to get them involved because it's so important to make sure that they're enjoying the game. So we had a bunch of what we call focus groups and game testing sessions where we got the kids around a table, told them about the story, and then let them just jump onto the game and play on computers. And different kids like different things. So some kids liked the competitive nature, other kids liked the questing, other kids like creating their character and adopting their glow. So it was a real mix, but we're really happy with the feedback, and we're looking forward to kids telling us what they think as they play now and in the beta.
Beta. Beta was the second letter in the ancient Greek alphabet. In a wolf pack, beta is subordinate to the leader. Betas are second best in the world of gaming too. When a game reaches beta, it's playable, but it still needs a lot of work done. Like a new house lacking paintwork and doorknobs, beta code is unfinished. Sometimes greedy companies don't beta test their games properly and release them too soon. That leads to bugs and crashes and patches and tears. Because of all those buggy games these days, just about everyone is a beta tester. For better or worse. The data on my last I'm No Noob challenge has been crunched. It's time to award a D.A.R.R.E.N badge to one skillful spawnling. I asked you to send in your high scores on the frantic platformer Edmus. In this game, you control a little blob called Edmus, who must jump over gaps and obstacles as the levels start to scroll by faster and faster. The challenge I posed was for you to get as far as humanly possible, to prove that you're not a bunch of noobs. Let's see how you did. Well done, spawnlings. You're proving to the noobs of the world that impressive scores are possible if you just try a little harder. And for impressing me with some serious Edmus skills, this week I'm awarding my prized D.A.R.R.E.N badge to this lucky spawnling. Congratulations. Check your email and there'll be a letter from me.
Hey Darren, why don't you send them one of these brand new Good Game Spawn Point t-shirts as well?
Affirmative. It can protect the badge in the post.
So, Darren, which game are you going to test the spawnlings with next week?
How about Sinuous? Sinuous is a mouse maneuvering mind muncher that is all about avoiding the red dots on the screen for as long as possible. If you move your mouse around a lot, you can dodge all those little incoming dots and you'll be granted bonus points. It's addictive and challenging. I want to see the highest scores you spawnlings are capable of. Just do an internet search for sinuous game and you'll find it. Take a picture of your highest score and send it in to me for assessment here.
Darren, that game looks pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh, time to review Child of Eden.
Oh, yes.
Affirmative.
Well, Bajo, Darren, the original Res was a cult classic, and now we finally have the spiritual successor to it, and it's called Child of Eden.
Res was a unique on-rails shooter originally released in 2001 on Sega's ill-fated Dreamcast console, and later ported to PlayStation 2. There was also a high-definition remake released for Xbox Live Arcade in 2008. Both Child of Eden and Res are based on the concept of synesthesia, a rare medical condition where people can see colours from sounds, tastes, and even letters and numbers. Several famous synesthetes include classical composer Franz Liszt, inventor of AC electricity Nikola Tesla, and founding member of the band Pink Floyd, Syd Barrett.
It's very interesting, Darren, but here it just means that everything you do is cleverly woven into the music, and the world is constantly shifting and changing as the music does. It makes for a very hypnotic experience.
And I imagine someone with that medical condition would have trouble playing this game because it's quite intense.
Probably.
The story goes like this. A girl called Lumi was the first human born in space, and because it's the future, the internet is much bigger and called Eden. And Lumi, for some reason, has been rebuilt in Eden, but finds herself under attack by hackers, or a bad save file, or a virus, or something, and it's up to you to rescue Lumi and Eden.
Yeah, this story isn't really much more than a premise for all the crazy graphics. Although, you have to admit, who doesn't love the idea of being inside a computer, flying through cyberspace and cleaning up all those nasty corrupted files?
Now, the big feature with this game is you can play it using the Kinect. You can use a standard controller as well, and when the PS3 version comes out, you'll be able to use the Move for that too. And I actually found the Kinect was the best option. At first, it takes a few goes to get into the swing of things, but once you get your head around it, you feel really powerful throwing clusters of missiles and shooting lasers from your hands. Plus, compared to the controller, I found it was easier and quicker to paint your targets. You can just do these grand sweeping motions over the screen really quickly and accurately. I admit after about an hour my arms were getting pretty sore, but I was having so much fun I didn't care.
And there's actually two ways to play with the Kinect. You can hold your right arm up to lock onto 8 missiles and splay your hand open to fire them, while your left arm controls a rapid-fire laser. Alternatively, you can make it so you can use just one arm and clap your hands to switch between weapons. You can also throw your arms above your head to activate a screen-clearing missile attack known as Euphoria. This is a bit disorientating though, because your hands control the camera, so every time you use it, the camera suddenly tilts up. I mean, it's no deal breaker, but it's definitely the weakest part of the Kinect controls.
I kind of like the way that the game ties music with the gameplay. You end up doing this weird laser shooting dance. It's quite clever, I think.
The game itself is broken up into just 5 levels, or archives, and if you don't die, they will each only take you about 10 to 15 minutes to finish. That doesn't sound like much, and it isn't. Most people will be able to clock this one in just a couple of hours.
And that's even with having to replay levels, because completing archives earns you a number of stars depending on how well you play, and you'll need a specific number of stars to unlock each level. Even the best players won't earn enough on their first playthrough to unlock every level.
I'm not a huge fan of the idea of being forced to replay levels just to progress, especially when you need to go back after playing just 3 levels. But fortunately, it's one of those games that you'll want to replay, partly because you'll want to hear the great songs over and over, but mostly because you get better every time as you learn the enemy patterns, helping to improve your score. In fact, this game is all about the replays. Your first playthrough is almost a tutorial, really.
Yeah, and it actually gets quite tough. It took me quite a few goes to get past that second last archive. But if you just want to enjoy the sights and sounds without the threat of death, there is an option to do that, although you'll have to unlock the levels the hard way first. And once you get the hang of it, you'll want to up the difficulty, which throws more enemies and missiles at you while also dealing double damage.
There's plenty to unlock as well, and there's plenty of reason to. Music videos, artworks, creatures and effects for the title screen, and even visual filters, which change the look quite dramatically. And once you complete the game, you unlock a 6th archive we have to survive for as long as possible. Maybe it ends, we haven't managed to get past level 9 yet. And there's leaderboards too, but let's wrap this up, shall we? Final thoughts?
Well, I think we could write a whole thesis on the visuals and themes in this game. Like how when you shoot, you tend to create and evolve the world rather than destroy it, or how it seems to chart the evolution of life from amoeba to spacefaring civilization. It really is a sensory tour de force. But what really matters is it's great fun and it makes you happy. I mean, I do wish there was more of it, but I'm always for quality over quantity, and this is pure quality, so I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, it is pretty short, but I think it's a great successor to Res. And like you say, it looks fantastic and sounds great, and I just kept coming back to it to listen to those songs again. It's my favourite Kinect game so far, so I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens. Well, time's almost up for our first longer show. How do you think it went, guys?
Well, it felt great to me, but it's not really my opinion that counts, is it?
No, it's mine.
No, it isn't, Darren. It's the Spawnlings, and we'd love to hear what you think. And there are plenty of ways you can tell us what you thought or give us suggestions on the show. You can do it via the forums, or you can send us an email, or you can send us an old-fashioned snail mail.
We shall return next week with more from the wonderful world of video games.
Yes, we're hoping to get our hands on Ocarina of Time for the 3DS.
And I'll be holding my first masterclass.
Ooh, on which game, Darren?
Well, it should help you, Bajo. Terraria. Well, I'd better be off. I have a potential extermination to be getting on with. See you next week.
Why is he in such a rush, I wonder?
I don't know, it's very unlike him.
Together we can take it to the end of the line. Your love is like a shadow on me all of the time. All of the time. I don't know what to do and I'm always in the dark.
Goose! No! Until next week, gamers, Bajo out.
Hex out!
Nothing I can say, a total eclipse of the heart.
You unplugged my microphone.
I think you unplugged mine.
I like your style.